transitioning is like turning yourself inside out and bearing your soul to the world. And what is more divine than that? I feel like I'm shining my soul out. It's, at first it's very raw and exposing, and it feels very uncomfortable to do that. It's very difficult to literally turn yourself inside out. But it's a deeply sacred process.
Today, we have a super special guest, Ashton Colby. He's a transgender advocate, speaker, and founder of a amazing program called Gender Euphoria. I've really admired Ashton's journey, witnessing how he embraces the masculine and the feminine, and he is a firecracker and a grounded rock at the same time of being willing to speak up against things that are happening to the trans community, as well as sticking to who he is and being authentic. So thank you for being here today, Ashton. How
Yeah,
you
thank
feeling?
you. Good. I'm feeling good to talk to you. Yeah.
Uh, I feel like I'd love to continue what we were chatting about a bit
Yeah.
in our little intro. So if you don't know, we can link it in the bio. Ashton has done some TED Talks and also some very controversial conversations with people, and he's really held his own on that way. I guess I'd love to hear from you in the beginning of, and as a way to introduce you to people listening, how do you stay so strong when faced with all of this adversity in the limelight?
Yeah, sharing my story, I feel like I don't have an option. It's like it's bursting out of me from the inside out. Like it's I when I first came out like 13 years ago, I thought that I was going to be totally stealth, and I didn't think that I was going to do any advocacy. And so just slowly was asked to share a little bit more and just kept showing up. And then now I do it as my full time thing. And I've been doing it full time since the end of 2019. Yeah, it's just, it's so crazy to be alive and be trans right now. And so some of the things that I've done that are a good example of this is I spoke face to face with a woman who was a trans man and transitioned back to be a cis woman, and that was because they found the evangelical faith, and that was something that sat across from this person and just shared from my heart and shared from my soul, and just a knowing that of my inherent worthiness to be alive and to express myself. And I've just had a lot of spiritual experiences throughout my transition that just even more anchor into my own heart that I know I'm just meant to be a man, that is from my soul. It's unshakable, relentless knowing, and I feel it in my body, but I have to do a lot of work to breathe and give myself hugs and get grounded in my body. But yeah, it's been some wild things that I've done over the last 10 years doing advocacy.
Yeah. It's wild to me to just like, I want to know like how you even got into it in the beginning. Cause like I hear you, you're just like, you got into it, you've been doing it for years, you've had all of these powerful, impactful conversations with people. And how did you go, from being somebody, I mean, from reading some of your story, you used to do beauty pageants and really embodied,
Yeah,
the feminine as hard as you
right.
could. And I know that story, like wanting to fit in and just, make everybody else happy, or even just trying to embrace what quote you're supposed to be. So, yeah, I'm curious, like, how did you even get started on the advocacy?
Yeah, I the beauty pageant thing, those skills that you learn talking in front of a crowd, holding a microphone, like projecting your voice,
Mm,
all those, all the pageantry type skills have actually really prepared me to do trans advocacy and stand there in front of a mic and testify at the state house here in Ohio and talk to Congress people. Like it's like the same skills. But yeah, I did beauty pageants when I was like 16, 17, 18, like 19. Yeah, just I really tried to push down any of my masculinity. Like I really wanted to prove to other people that I was like worthy as a woman and that I was valid and that if I could be recognized and literally given physical trophies and things, given awards for being the best woman that I could, then
mm,
somehow I would feel complete and whole, and that was just not my truth. I felt like a drag queen. I felt like really out of place, that I just was not experiencing it the same way backstage as all these other young women were. And it was a performance. It was something. It was completely inauthentic to who I actually am. And so in college, I just slowly got involved in just groups on campus that were just LGBTQ, only had me like as the only trans person in the entire like group of all these college kids. And so I kept networking with other colleges around me and going to speak at their colleges, just because I was at that point in 2012. There's like not a lot of other trans people. It was still a very like
yeah.
novel thing. And so I just kept showing up and sharing my story during just being in college, and it just has slowly grew to me speaking at other schools further out in the country, and um, then just having to share my story with politicians. Like in 2016, there was an anti-trans bathroom bill here in Ohio where I'm from, and I live in the capital city, so I I could walk to the state house downtown, and I I had to show up in that moment and sit down with the representative that who introduced the bill, and I had to sit there with my dad and just say like, do you want me in the women's restroom with my beard and all of that? And at that point it was effective. He pulled the bill. He realized, okay, that's not, I don't want this guy in the women's room. So I saw it
Wow.
firsthand in real
Yeah.
time how sharing my story actually changed something. And so as more and more things about trans people have come into the media and come into the news and come into the legal system, I've just somehow just that I've gotten a fire in my heart, and that I just like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And it's really as simple as just being myself. Like it's amazing where my career is just being myself, just being myself and sharing my story. Like I hope everybody can find a career in their life where they're just paid to be themselves. They're fulfilled by just being themselves. So I feel like I'm very lucky, and I have gratitude like every day that this is that's as hard as it is. This is something that feels just, it is, I have found my purpose.
Wow. I've had goosebumps like this whole time you just sharing this. I mean, I just want to give some like acknowledgement to you for having that courage during those times to just be out and share your story, especially when it feels like you're alone.
Yeah.
And I'm sure now you probably have a lot more people around you and support, I'm assuming. But it's especially right now, it's like we need people like you, like me, like anybody listening to stand up and just the nugget that I got from your story was that you just told your story. You were just you. You know, it's like we can have this idea of somebody, you know, they've been on these episodes, they've been on these things, they've done all this stuff, and it's like we're all just human beings. We're all people, and you're just sharing your story and hearing how you just sharing your story was able to change a literal law, a bill in your state. Like that, if that doesn't inspire anybody listening to tell your story, I don't know what else you need. That's amazing, and thank you for having that courage because, you know, I'm sure in some butterfly effect way that's helped me and many others be who we are. So I just want to say thank you for
Thank
everything
you.
you've
I've
done.
fully received that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be hard sometimes, you know, when it's grinding and moving and pushing and working and fighting to like just take some moments to pause and recognize all that you've done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Something I am really curious about to talk with you is, and I haven't seen a lot of other trans people aside from Two Spirits talk about this, is like, how did you come to this place where you're at now, where you accept and embrace your feminine energy? And like, it, again, if maybe, you know, just correct me if I'm wrong, but from watching you and hearing you, what you share, you do accept your feminine energy and those parts of you and see yourself as a whole being, fully integrated, and not shunning or pushing those parts or even that history away from you. And I think that is really crucial for trans people, queer people, non binary, all human beings to embrace the masculine and feminine within us. And what has your journey been like with that?
Yeah. I I feel like I present mostly as just a dude. That's how I'm just like a dude. But I really a fully I don't call my previous self my dead name or anything because to me it's not that version of me is not dead. I actually right now I'm looking at there's a picture of myself of just a baby picture of me and a picture of me when I was a freshman in college or in high school. So I have that right there and it's on my desk and that's still a version of myself that beyond time and space like I connect with that. And I really don't think that time is linear. And so I can heal parts of my past self as I fully accept who I am in this moment. When I first came out as a trans man, I was very focused on like being as masculine as possible, like very hyper masculine and anything seen as feminine. I totally rejected it. I wanted people to see me 100% as a man with no doubts in their mind that that's who I was. So as I went through testosterone for 2 or 3 years, I put on a lot of muscle and I got a lot of hair and I was very, chugging protein shakes and just going to the gym for hours a day and just to try to feel safer in my body and in my masculinity. And I kind of hit a roadblock because that wasn't fully authentic either. Like it felt very constrained. It felt very like forced that I had to be that masculinity to be safe, really, to like feel regulated within my own like inner sense of self. And so yeah, but my nervous system was very dysregulated. I was very on edge and I was happier who I was. I knew I was supposed to be a man, but I stopped doing testosterone for about a year. It was this like self exploration process, just going through a lot of difficult times in where I know a lot of it's about my TED Talk. A lot of trans people get through these massive physical changes 3 or 4 years into their transition. And like for me, I had top surgery and you get all the physical changes, but then you realize, okay, that was just the first part of the journey. That the real transition is really integrating it all into who you are. So yeah, I had to figure out who I was without testosterone too. And
Mhm.
so that allowed me to just not be dependent on that to in order for me to feel valid as a
Yeah.
so during that time I really just I did some like non-binary kind of drag performance at the house that I had. I was living with a bunch of queer people, and our house was we had so many queer people. We did like drag shows and things in our living room, and I performed once, and I wrote "fuck gender" on my chest in lipstick, and I wore a flower crown, and I was wearing heels and some leggings and stuff. So like totally not the dude man that you like see. I just
Yeah.
wanted to integrate that part of me myself. So I did a song. Alessia Cara is one of her lyrics talks about like being beauty queens and how that's it. So I was doing like a performance lip singing to that song, and that was very freeing to have myself be seen by everyone, including my like cis girlfriend who just chose to love me for all of who I am, even when she started dating this like just man dude person. That yeah, that year was really the catalyst for my spiritual awakening, and I was doing some, I did some shrooms, I did some LSD, I did a lot of experimenting with just myself, and I can get more into detail about it, but just yeah, just a wild ride of just loving all myself, whether it's like messy or whether it hurts, whether it's yeah, so I just now see it as a superpower for me to have masculinity and femininity. I think that trans people are here to save the world and teach people about these very stuck, rigid men, women, masculine, feminine, like kind of break open the dam and just show people there's a lot more going on than just our
Yeah.
physical bodies.
Absolutely. First of all, your drag era sounds badass.
Yeah, that was
And
good.
I feel like that's a rite of passage too. Like I hear from a lot of other trans folks, mostly trans men, myself included, that take a break from testosterone. Like I
Yeah,
took a year too, and I took a year twice, like on and off and on and off. And yeah, every single time that seems to be the catalyst for spiritual awakening, one, and then also full integration of self. Cause I think like once maybe you feel the same, but like for me, it's like once I got to a point in the testosterone where I'm like, all right, my voice is deeper. I got some facial hair. I don't feel so alienated by my look anymore. Now I feel safe to like explore life and kind of just take a break and not be so lenient on that. And I totally invite all queer trans people who are on hormones to give yourself at least like a 6 month break and just see what happens. Yeah, I want to hear more about your spiritual journey too, and like what that's been like for you in relation to being trans. Because I hear you say trans people can save the world, and I totally agree. I feel like we're the bridge for healing man and woman, male, female, masculine, feminine, everything, the trauma between the two and what keeps them
mhm,
stuck, especially me witnessing hundreds of women and hundreds of men go through their own processes, cis men and cis women. watching them go through their whole process and realizing like they're kind of doing the same the same
Yeah.
thing, you know,
Yeah.
just wearing different clothes. So what was your spiritual awakening per se?
Yeah. It a 100% is entwined with my trans experience, and I grew up really in, like, a Christian household and very, like, white suburban Christianity, and I just I found some peace in that, and it did give me, like, basis of just believing in something bigger than myself and having faith in something outside myself. And yeah, I mean, I think that saying that you are trans to yourself, like first you have to come out to yourself before you come out to anybody else. You're making a declaration that who you internally and inherently are, who you are is not your body, because you're transitioning or you have a desire to change and transform your body. That eternal essence of you, that consciousness that is you, that's completely internal and separate from your body. Like we're very so focused on this 3D physical world that you are your body. Like that's really what the belief is in a lot of anti-trans stuff. It's they are like, you are this physical thing that is, you can never change it. And really, it's the complete opposite. Like, I am this eternal soul that just happens to be in this body in this lifetime. And for me, yeah, it's like transitioning is like turning yourself inside out and bearing your soul to the world. And what is more divine than that? I feel like I'm shining my soul out. It's, at first it's very raw and exposing, and it feels very uncomfortable to do that. It's very difficult to literally turn yourself inside out. But it's a deeply sacred process. And so for me, I started to just realize that my body is like temporary, that I'm here, and as long as I'm transitioning consciously, because there really is two ways to transition, really consciously or unconsciously. And initially I was transitioning, yes, to be happier, but I still was not fully conscious of like my inherent worth beyond my gender, beyond my body, beyond any identities.
Hmm.
And as I've become more conscious of it, of just the fact that like really, wow, it's like before I came into this physical body, I chose to, whether you call it heaven or the great before, whatever you want to call it, there is a choice where you choose a life path that you're going to go on. And for me, for the highest evolution of my soul, I knew I was going to come into a body that was not going to fit what people's expectation of my gender was. And I mean, it blew me wide open. I mean, when I say it was a catalyst for my spiritual awakening, like it is like a one-way ticket in the fast lane to like completely just blow past every society's expectation of who you're supposed to be. So being trans is like is so rad. It's so cool. It's so divine. Keep let's keep talking about it, because I there's so much I could say about
Being
just the spiritual aspects of it.
No, for sure, being trans is divine. I'm so stuck on what you just said about it's like turning yourself inside out.
Yeah,
Can you dive a little deeper in that? I
yeah,
love that. I so resonate with that because even in
yeah.
these spaces, of man woman, that's exactly what they're trying to do, and it's like they're so stuck, and we can help them.
Yes.
if they just stop policing
Yeah.
us.
To take to just like all the people that don't like trans people right now, I just wish they would do two things. Like one, just ask themselves like, what is there possibly for me to learn from trans people? Is there something for me to learn and just also just sit down with a couple trans people over a cup of coffee and actually talk to actual trans people and then make your decision about what it means to be trans if you've never lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah, turning yourself inside out. It's how we manifest anything because we're very powerful. Human beings are very powerful with our minds and our heart and our inner eye. We can manifest things into the 3D world, and that's amazing. And that can look like manifesting a new car, a new house, or a new boyfriend or whatever. But also like how you even manifest consciously and create and be a conscious creator in this world at this time because we need more of that. We need people that are holding the vision within their heart and their mind